Many organizations, both within the public and private sectors, are embracing the NIST cybersecurity framework to manage cybersecurity risk. The framework integrates industry standards and best practices and provides a common language. That allows staff at all levels within an organization to develop a shared understanding of their cybersecurity risks. So how can we use the NIST CSF 2.0 to reduce cybersecurity risk? The NIST CSF is driven by business objectives and focuses primarily on cybersecurity risks as a subset of business risks. The NIST CSF consists of 6 functions: govern, identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. Each of these functions has several categories and subcategories that describe the targeted objectives. One benefit of the CSF is the ability to integrate the functions into the risk assessment and control selection process that your environment needs. Your cloud environment can benefit from using the NIST CSF framework in the architecture process. It can be used to broaden the scope for both security requirements and the risk assessment. It will also help during the defense in-depth analysis to discover uncovered parts of the cybersecurity posture. To illustrate how to apply the NIST CSF framework in the real world, I will use the healthcare sector as an example. In the cloud, we have shared responsibility, using a model called the shared responsibility model. As a cloud customer, or CSC, you are responsible for security in the cloud. Depending on the service model, this means that there will be many responsibilities for you as a cloud security architect to fulfill. The cloud service provider, or CSP, must fulfill all responsibility for security of the cloud. This means hardware, software, networking, and data center facilities. I will use the icons in this presentation throughout the course. The red icon represents the cloud service customer, and the green icon represents the cloud service provider. The icons are used to illustrate responsibility for security. The CSF core recognizes 6 functions that outline how to organize cybersecurity activities. Govern the organization's risk management and prioritizations for the other 5 functions. Understand the organizational context, the establishment of cybersecurity strategy and cybersecurity supply chain risk management. Manage role, responsibilities, policy, and the oversights of cybersecurity strategy. Identify potential cybersecurity risks to your information assets. A health clinic is, for example, responsible for the protection of patient records and the processes that update the patient data. It's particularly important to cover these aspects in a risk assessment. Protect yourself against these risks by developing and implementing safeguards. For our healthcare example, all patient data must be protected and access must be given only when needed. Users must be trained in cybersecurity issues. Processes and procedures must support the need for availability, integrity, and confidentiality of patient data. Detect any irregular activity to determine if breaches have occurred. In a healthcare environment, all access to patient data and access to the environment must be logged. Alerts can be set up to get notified on ongoing suspicious activities. Respond to any detected breaches to contain their impact. If cybersecurity incidents are detected, we need to respond. Access for specific users to health data can be closed and untrusted devices can be banned from accessing the environment. Recover from these breaches by restoring any broken assets. In case an incident happens and the environment can be harmed, we need a plan for recovery. Patient journals must be available for clinicians, and a solid recovery plan can help bring the EMR back in operation after an incident occurs. The govern function delivers results that guide the organizations on actions to optimize and prioritize the outcomes of the other 5 functions. This must be in alignment with the organization's missions and the expectations of stakeholders. The role of governance is vital for integrating cybersecurity within the organization's extensive enterprise risk management framework. Govern focuses on grasping the organizational context. In a healthcare environment, it's important to understand what the core functions and risks of healthcare is all about. You need an understanding of the regulatory requirements for the healthcare sector. As a cloud customer, you will be responsible for governance, including risk management. The cloud service provider is also responsible for complying with regulatory requirements in addition to contractual obligations for its services. As a cloud customer, you have to establish policies and utilize the cloud-native support for enforcing those policies in a cloud environment. Remember that you need to evaluate your risk management practices regularly to improve your strategy. It's also very important to manage and monitor your cybersecurity supply chain risk management processes. These processes should also include the cloud service provider and its subcontractors. Building a cybersecurity program requires an organization first and foremost to understand what it needs to protect. The identify function lays the groundwork for asset management, critical business operations, proper use of assets, how behavior is enforced, and how are risks identified and managed. In a healthcare environment, it's important to identify the patient data flow, the roles involved in the processing of data, and the patient treatment process. As a customer, you will be responsible for your own risk management and management of threats and vulnerabilities. The cloud service provider is responsible for the threat intelligence and vulnerabilities in the cloud infrastructure. The protect function focuses on several separate categories and capabilities of data and information protection. Examples include access control, training and awareness, encryption, and platform security. Once critical assets are identified and risk is measured, protective controls and capabilities can be established. The level of investment in each subcategory depends on the risk. You, as a cloud customer, must manage access control to your own environment. You must train your users and protect data both at rest and in transit. Use the cloud provider's native security tools to protect your data. The cloud provider is responsible for protecting its assets and maintain availability of systems. The CSP must also implement segregation to prevent data leaks. As a cloud customer, you must make sure that your security baseline in the cloud is updated. This is especially important when consuming platform as a service and infrastructure as a service services in the cloud, where you are responsible for most of the security control configurations. You must also ensure that you utilize the cloud-native services for backup and recovery. All physical assets in the cloud data center is the responsibility of the cloud service provider. The CSP is responsible for protecting assets and networks within the data center. This also includes all software and development processes that are part of the CSP service offering. Needless to say, the numerous examples of attacks against the healthcare sector worldwide illustrate the need for detective controls. These controls require a mix of technical and process capabilities to be executed by the security team. You have to collect and analyze both technical logs and access logs within your environment. This will help you determine if an attack is in process against your environment, or if malicious insiders have unauthorized access to data. The CSP is responsible for monitoring all access to the cloud platform, including its own personnel. Some of the infrastructure logs will be available for you as a customer. It will be possible for you to automate detection of unusual events and create real-time alerts based on log data from different sources in the environment. You should utilize all native monitoring services the CSP offers and set up automation to handle security events. If you get attacked, it's necessary for you to have a solid response plan in advance. It's your sole responsibility as a cloud customer to have a response plan for your service. You have to investigate events and report breaches to authorities to fulfill your regulatory obligations. The CSP is also responsible for investigating and reporting security events in the cloud platform to you as a customer and to the authorities. You must, according to your response plan, contain the incident and reduce the impacts as much as possible. It will be important to learn from all incidents and prepare for the future. The CSP must handle platform incidents and keep the cloud services running in order to meet requirements in the service level agreement with you as a customer. Recovery focuses on getting the organization back to business as usual. When an incident occurs, even a cybersecurity incident, the business continuity and recovery plan will also have to be executed. The recovery function focuses on keeping the environment up and running throughout and after the incident. You are responsible for restoring backup and getting your cloud-based service up and running as fast as possible. You are also responsible for communicating with all your users and other stakeholders. The cloud provider can recover environments on behalf of you as a customer when this is part of the service level agreement. This also includes communicating recovery activities.